every single last drop. Won't be satisfied, baby, till you begging me to stop. Oops, there you go, it's that boy again. I mean, that cocky motherfucker, all he do is win. I mean, the empty sense of love comes inside my undercover. Fuck around and break that rubber, throw sweep of it like another. Oh my god, that's too mean. These cars on that lean. They say when they hear my voice, it's like promethazine. They fiend when I make them moist, dripping through their veins. So I slurp them up and don't stop until they clean. Shawty getting rough, she cut me, don't give a fuck. Shades of you know concise, she drugged and tie me up. Good thing I'm a savage, so simple, always manage. Flip up the script, leave it pinned out to the mattress. Edgy till I die, these molars call me senpai. Girl, I'm young the race, sucking blood till it runs dry. Staring at those legs, getting tranced by those thigh highs. Being hypnotized, so enthralled by those boy eyes. Oh my, it's the king of the icky. Fangirls worldwide saying my voice is sexy. I don't care what you say, I know one thing.
Rainbow says, hey fellas. Lonnie the Femboy says, hi Rin. Ruby Mysterio says, oh yeah, I'd also get to claim my first badge.
And everyone's voice, only I'm not there, just watching from afar. I can't go home because I'm afraid.
Taylani the Femboy says, oh.
Me without me, I'm the one to blame. I've moved on by my own will. I had nothing else I wanted to do. Wasn't hard, but I didn't hate it. I did not even like it. I've been patient.
Orlando Lion Fan Club says, hello there.
Long time though. I never found out what it was. It's my stress, that's for sure. I never wanted to run away. I was very motivated. Then what is this?
Taylani the Femboy says, hello Orlando.
I've been patient, but it was bearable. I've had a gray hairs for a long time though. I never found out what it was. I taste like vegetables I don't like. The town inside me and everyone's voice. Only I'm not there, just watching from
Femboy
afar.
Kirito says,
I can't go
Hua.
home because I'm afraid something will change. Me without me, I'm the one to blame. Boom, boom, boom. Ooh, ooh. I'm not waiting for a
Taylani the Femboy says, why would one taste like vegetables? Especially ones you don't like? WM confused. Taylani the Femboy says, hi
No one
Kiri.
can stop it unless I just have to do something about it. It's not even a case. I've been patient, but it was bearable. I've had a gray haze for a long time though. I never found out what it was. I hate the alarm clock I chose. The town inside
The Train Master says, I went train watching last Tuesday.
Only I'm not there, just watching from afar. I can't go home because I'm afraid something will change. Me without me, I'm the one to blame.
Orlando Lion Fan Club says, nice, how many trains?
I'm out of patience, my body is light. Let's paint the gray haze into sky blue. I know who you are, I'm not leaving you.
uploaded train videos on YouTube.
I'm not there, just watching from afar. There is nowhere to go, nowhere to go. It's all just food, you know. Me without me, I'm the one to blame. Place where I belong, no matter what.
Taylani the Femboy says, head pat of the train master.
No matter what, change, but no longer change me. I can feel the light even after the sun goes down. Kiss me, please.
Taylani the Femboy says, I'm going to be playing Trans-Siberian Railway Simulator soon, Train Master. Taylani the Femboy says, one of these streams. The Train Master says, choo choo. Ruby Muscaria says, maybe the real train was a friend who Ryan made along the way. Taylani the Femboy says, Rail works way too well. Taylani the Femboy says, Ruby Muscaria says, that's the point. Mogavi says, Mogul dance. Hi, Emma says, Mwah. Taylani the Femboy says, Mom.
Gee, I hope nothing is broken because I never checked. Oh, look.
Ruby Muscaria
Well, actually, I
says,
think everything's alright,
I play
except for
with
my
Femboys
chat box.
almost as much as I play with words.
Yeah. Oh, okay. You play with Fem? Yeah. Hello, everybody. It's a Friday today. It's Friday, and we have a special title provided by
Orlando Lion
Ruby.
Fan Club says,
Ruby
the
was
Train
talking to
Master
me
says,
yesterday,
"It's so good to
or
see
the day
you."
before, and I was like, oh my God, Plappable Deniability.
Orlando Lion Fan Club says, Femboy Friday, yow.
Femboy Friday, yes. Okay, I'm sorry. I
Ruby
know I sound a
Muscaria
little
says,
muted right
"Yesterday
now.
lol."
I sound a little muted because I am. I just woke up just a little bit ago, so I'm kind of just like still a little groggy. How are you guys doing today? I hope you guys are having a good day. I hope you guys are having a good Pride Month, because it has been an auspicious start.
Hi,
To
Emma says,
to Pride
can I
Month.
get the lore behind adding Ruby in the title?
Okay, yeah. So it just came
Orlando
from a
Lion Fan
conversation.
Club says 2 p.m. sleep.
It just came.
Ruby Muscaria
2
says,
p.m. sleep?
Hungry.
No.
I need to make food and cancel one of my classes.
You're
The
doing
Train
good.
Master
I'm
says,
glad you're doing
I'm
good.
doing great.
So I will give the story about Ruby. It's not a really long one. It's just an interesting one involving Ruby asking me a question, and then me answering, and then her playing with some words, and then I was like, wait, I need to name my stream that. That's basically what it rolled out to. But good morning. Hello, Moggleby. Hello, Azzy. Hi, Ruby. And even though I've been talking to you this whole time. Oh my god, my brain. Orlando and Train Master, welcome to the stream. Speaking of which, Train Master, every time I keep thinking of you because I'm like, I want to play a
Ruby
train game on
Mysteria
stream,
says,
and now I have a
3.
train game I'm going to play on stream at some point here pretty soon, hopefully. So maybe that'll be very enjoyable for you. However, I don't know what it's about. I expect it to be a little quirky, so I just you know. And then so yeah,
Hi, Emma says, I woke up like 5 minutes ago, lol.
Yeah, and Rainbow, welcome to the stream, and Kiri's here too. Hi, Kiri. So, yeah, oh my gosh, it's kind of a time crunch, and it's a time crunch of my
Ian
own
says,
making.
Hi,
Ian,
Tay. Can't stop for long. Got something to build.
all right, Ian. Well, welcome to the stream, and I hope you're able to stay for a few minutes and hang out. Otherwise, I hope you have a good time with whatever you're building. What are you building, by the way? Now you got my curiosity piqued a little bit. What are you building? So, guys, I have so much to talk about today. First off, I made a time crunch for myself, right? Because I'm like, I need
Ruby
to stream.
Mysteria says, more like hi. I'm a nerd and curious.
And then, let's see. I need to stream today, but then I also have to get like haircuts for me, and like everybody's getting haircuts. So I scheduled haircuts at like 4 o'clock today, and which is in 3 hours, right? So I got like 2 hours to stream essentially. But yeah, I scheduled it at 4 o'clock, and so that's a fun and amazing time of all things. And yeah, so I was like, all right, oh shit, well, I guess I'm just streaming for a couple hours today, which is fine. I can already feel my throat dragging, and not for good reasons either.
Not exciting. Hi, Emma says, Ruby's love language is calling people nerds.
Set of shelves for a cupboard. I helped build the swing set. Let's see, Wednesday, yeah. We have a big swing set, like a big wooden one, with a slide, and it's got a picnic table. And the picnic table cover comes off, and then you can, like, there's sand in it. It's a sandbox in the picnic table. And then it's got swings and monkey bars. It's pretty crazy. It's a pretty crazy swing set. So I helped build that for a little bit, and then I, like,
The Train Master says,
cleaned
I'm
up
right
my yard.
on time, choo-choo.
You are right on time, yes. And, yeah, so I like, cleaned up my yard. Like, Wednesday was just me working the entire day outside. It felt nice. I'm not gonna lie. It felt really good to just go outside and just do some labor. Not the Emprey kind of labor either, but like oh my god. Okay, my ADHD is working overtime today because I went from Emprey to be like, wait, do people?
What
do
kind
people
of nerdy
who like,
nerdiness do you dare to nerdishly spout from your nerdy nerd mouth? Nerd?
Yeah. Wow, that was a lot of nerd, and it never showed up in chat, which is odd. You know, that's funny. But
Ian
yeah, so
says, Taylani, Construction Edition. Femboy
Taylani
Curator
Construction
says,
Edition?
something
Yeah.
that my haters never done
It's
is going
crazy.
outside.
Look, guys, is going outside. Well, Kiri, I don't hate you. I love you, Kiri. You're great. You make me laugh.
Mogaby says, YouTube didn't like the amount of nerd. I had to approve the
Had
message
to
in the
approve
mouth.
the nerd message.
Ruby Muscaria says,
It never came
so
across
true,
my
Kiri.
screen. So, yeah, I'm doing some crazy stuff. Like, we're building a deck pretty soon outside of my house for handicap accessibility for somebody who lives in my house. So that's pretty
Ruby
interesting.
Muscaria says, are you serious, RN Mogu?
Yeah, apparently YouTube didn't like your nerdy ass messages. I can say it as many times as I watch. Watch. Nerdy, 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 nerd, nerd, nerdy, nerd, 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 nerdy, 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 nerd. Ruby is a nerd. Ruby is a nerd, nerd, nerdy, nerdy, nerd. See, it's not banning me. Watch, my stream just goes.
Skycopter says, hello Tay-Tay in chat. 3.
Hi, Skycopter. Welcome to the stream. Hey, I'm happy you came on VC for a little while last night. It was kind of cool talking to you. Especially, I played like I've been kind of obsessed with Slay the Spire lately, and that was kind of a fun little run last night. But yeah, so I don't know. There's so many things that just been happening this week. My mind is. I'm not used to so many things happening in terms of like events. Or having to build a crazy amount of stuff like decks, like an entire deck. Like we were trying to build this deck. They didn't even have lumber.
LMFAO.
I had to order lumber from like 2 different places to get our deck, and I'm not even sure we have everything we quite need yet. Although I'm pretty sure we got most of it. So, and it's fucking expensive.
Ruby Muscaria
Everything
says,
is so expensive right now.
It seems my reign of nerd is over.
Yeah, nerd. Get out of here. Well, no, don't get out of here. Stay, nerd. I say, get out of here, nerd. Because Bananiel says, get out of here, nerd, and it's still kind of rubbed off on me. There's a lot of things that rubbed off on me. Ignore that. Anyways. But, yeah, so. And then, I don't know. There's like a whole bunch of crap that happened this week.
7 Luis says, being a nerd isn't so bad.
Being a nerd's not so
the
bad.
Train Master says,
that means you get to have cute glasses, right?
On YouTube. Ruby Muscaria says, no nerd. I'm not ignoring that. Ian says, MHM.
Train Master. I'm really sorry. I do have to admit I haven't quite been to your channel yet. And it's not that I don't want to go to your channel or anything. It's just by the time I would typically remember to go to and check out your channel sometime, it's like the end of a stream and then I just forget everything because of my ADHD,
Ian
right?
Says,
so I will go. So like I'm afraid I'm gonna go to your channel someday because I'll remember and there's just gonna be nothing there. It's like Train Master is running the greatest con job known to man. Going to like everybody's streams, right? Be like, I post a crap load of trains and like stuff and pictures of trains and stuff on my page or on my channel, and freaking you're gonna go there and it's gonna be nothing. Like, it's like how do you have like a million channel views and it's the greatest train con job ever. We call that a train job.
Ruby Muscaria says, losing my ability to say nerd. This is literally 1980 nerd.
It's not 1980. 1980 was the glory days. It's 1984. We're permanently paused on 1984. You want to know something though? It's not 1984, right? No, 1984 is too obvious. It's 1994. It's still 1984, but it's hidden a little bit better. I don't know why it would be 1994, but just whatever. It's not quite 1984 is what I'm saying.
Ruby Muscaria says, say 1984 but change the 4 to nerd. Teo.
Yeah, 1980 Ruby? I mean nerd? Yeah? Is that what you're saying? Well, I don't know. It's 1489.
1984. Such a good book.
Such a good book. You know what? I have this thing in my brain that like rails against how often things are used.
Hi, Emma says, as I said, calling people nerds for love language. As a
template, or not as a template, but like a reference to something. So like every time some little thing happens where someone isn't able to say a thing, or because they get sued by somebody because speech does have consequences on occasion, they'll be like, oh my god, it's 1984. It's like, okay, relax. I'm not saying that the current state of the world isn't shit right now.
2004.
But I mean, look, if you're scared now, just imagine what's going to happen in like, or what basically happening
Ruby
right now,
Mysteria says,
you are basically
"This is
being
literally George Orwell,
monitored
1984."
24/7 by so many different cameras and ways to like locate you, and there's going to be AI analyzing all of this
Ian
shit for
says,
so many different
"Yes,
things. It's
It's
not
1984 does my head in.
look, you don't have to worry about your government. You genuinely, okay, you probably have to worry about your government a little bit, all right? You need to worry about Google.
Ruby Mysteria says,
You need to worry
"I'm gonna bust
about,
it down for Chat GPT."
you need to worry about, like, any kind of massive corporation, right? They don't care. They don't care what you do. They don't really give a shit what you do, unless you're doing it on their platform. However, they do care about serving you ads. Pretty soon, you're going to be sitting on your crapper one day, and in order to get your toilet to flush, you're going to have to play a 3-minute ad, right? This is inevitable. It's like, nah, we know you have your own water, but we did sell that toilet to you with that really nice bidet, okay? You can't squirt your ass without watching an ad. We're just not doing that thing. The bidet was free, though. Like, we added that on for free with this ad caveat thing that you have to do.
Zedril says, "Well, time to jailbreak the damn porcelain throne
Jailbreak the
FC."
porcelain. I know. Yeah, but then they'll be like, oh, that's
Ruby Mysteria says, "I don't use a buddy."
piracy on the toilet seas. We gotta float. Okay, never mind. I'm not gonna say that. Anyways.
Hello people, he says, "Don't buy a fancy
Happy
new toilet."
Friday. Don't buy.
The Train
Well,
Master
okay.
says, "Happy Friday to you."
Until you don't have a choice.
Femboy Kirito says, "Chat GPT,
You're-
make a Donald Trump review
Until
of
you don't
Brokeback
have a
Mountain."
choice, right? You're gonna be like, oh, I'm not gonna buy a new toilet. You've had that toilet for 30 years, and I've had this happen before. The toilet just breaks, right? A piece of the toilet bowl breaks
Skycopter
off.
says,
I've had this
"Toilet
happen.
piracy?
It is insane.
I suppose it is easier to plunder the booty."
It
Ian
literally,
says,
it has
"Oh, heck
happened.
no."
And then you're gonna be like, oh, I gotta buy a new toilet. And you actually probably don't know at this point. You don't
Aki
know the
says,
state of
"I'm
toilets.
here."
You don't know the state of toilets because it's been 30 friggin' years since you bought a toilet, or since you
Well,
had to
says
worry about a
greater than
toilet of any
3C.
kind of thing, right? So you go buy your toilet and you're like, whoa, these things are so advanced now. They got LEDs in the toilet so you can see where you're peeing. They got automatic cleaner thingies.
Ruby
There's like
Mysteria says,
a
"Sounds
really
like a shitty situation."
soft closed toilet seat.
Oh,
a
08526557
bidet,
Luis
right?
says,
There's like 2 bidets.
"Microtransaction drops."
There's
and
two.
there's smiley face.
There's 2 bidets,
Femboy
right?
Kirito
2,
says,
not
"At
2.
least your toilet isn't skibidi."
2. Okay.
Aki says,
they have
"Why are-"
2 bidets, right? And the 2 bidets are one squirts your little butthole, and the other one squirts your little whatever you have in front, whatever you happen to have in front there, right? You know, you're like, whoa, and it's what? It's $40, dude. I'm down. This is less than a fucking McDonald's McDouble right now. It's $40, less than a McDonald's McDouble. And you go and you bring it home and you're looking at the instruction manual, right? And it's like a 1-page fold over. It's a 1-page fold over. It's like, oh yeah, you put this thing in, and then you're like, oh man, I really gotta take a crap. I gotta take a crap, and you go to sit down on the toilet. You go to sit down on the toilet, and it beeps at you, and you're like, wait, why isn't it working? And it's getting its firmware update. It's getting its firmware update. And it's like, this will take approximately 30 seconds. And then like 5 minutes later, right, you're sitting there bouncing because you really got to pee or poop or whatever you're doing. And, you know, you're going through the manual. It's like, how do I just use the firmware that comes with it for the moment, right? You're just sitting there. You're trying to get this going. And it's like, okay. And then finally it's done. Finally it's done. Then you sit down, you're ready to use the bath, you're ready to use the toilet, and it starts beeping at you again. Well, now you gotta sign the end user license agreement, and then the other agreement that they always have, right? You gotta read through these and sign, and it's not one you can just do quickly. You have to scroll through the whole thing, and it's gonna take you like 5 minutes because it's gonna be like 400 pages, right? But you're expected to know all this. It's fine. and then you hit the little check mark and you click OK. And you got to do that twice, mind you, right? So you're doing that. You're just going crazy. You're just going crazy and trying to. So you're like, finally, I can sit down. And then it's like, oh no, we need to update. We need to update its operating system. Its software needs to be updated. Otherwise, it doesn't work. So it's sitting there beeping at you. The toilet bowl is still dry, by the way. It's not like it hasn't even accepted a water thing yet. And then you're like, oh my God, I have to okay, so it gets the software update. And right, that takes another 20 minutes. It says it's going to take like 5, but it takes like 20. And by this time, you're ready to just go take a leak in your fucking sink, right? Okay? And you're like, finally, there can't be any other possible thing going wrong. So you go to sit on your toilet, everything seems to work. And you get off the toilet and you go to hit the flush handle and the flush handle doesn't work. Why doesn't the flush handle work? Why? Software bug. Software bug. And then you find out, the toilet got updated, right? But then the company that you bought it from doesn't release software updates very often. As a matter of fact, this has been an issue with this particular model of toilet for the past 9 months. And they haven't fixed it yet. You don't know why they haven't fixed it. They haven't said shit about it. And all the other hundreds of, tens of thousands of customers that own this toilet, they haven't had theirs fixed either. What are they doing? They're pooping in their bathtub. Because they're like, we could afford a new toilet, but we know we're going to go get a new toilet, and it's going to be the same damn thing. You know it. You know this is exactly where we're headed, right? It's not the government you got to worry about. It's Google. Just wait. The first Google toilet, if it's not already out, it's coming. It's coming. It's happening. Look, we just bought a bidet. I am scared shitless of this thing. I am so scared of this. It's a little lever thing, right? I'm scared. Like, you're scared. You're just scared. You don't know what this thing's going to be like. A lot of people swear by this thing, but you don't know what it's going to be like. You're scared of that. Then you're scared it's going to break and it's hooked up to your plumbing. Then you're scared that, when you have a 4-year-old and an 8-year-old, they're going to be like, oh, a thing that squirts water. I wonder what this is going to do. Or, there's just so many different things that it's like, oh my God. And this is just a toilet. My buddy tells me the other day, he's got a really nice gas stove. What conspiracy? I don't really believe in a lot of conspiracy theories. I genuinely don't. I just believe in reality, essentially. So, essentially, he's got this really nice gas stove, a really beautiful stainless steel gas stove, double oven, just very, very nice. And it's all like touchscreen and stuff like that, right? He bought this thing for like $5,000, $4 or $5,000, I think. And it's amazing to cook on. And it's insane because he just told me the other day, he's like, yeah, I got to buy a new stove. It's like, this thing is like 5 years old, maybe 6 or 7 years old, somewhere in there. And he's like, yeah, I got to buy a new stove. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? It's a gas stove. It's a gas stove. Those things last forever, right? Oh, no. Well, I'm like, well, if something's broke, can't you just fix it real quick? I mean, it's a gas stove. They're actually really simple. Most things are fixable on a gas stove. He's like, oh no, the control panel in the like the computer in the control panel went out. I'm like, oh, okay. How much does that cost? Like, can you get it repaired? He's like, yeah, it's gonna be like $1,200. $1,200. Why? Why is that $1,200? I don't understand. That is I could build a computer that will fucking do that shit and play Cyberpunk with ray tracing on. Like, why? Well, we ran into the same fucking issue. I mean, granted, it was during COVID, but our glass top on our stove shattered, right? It shattered because, okay, and get this, it shattered because I made a pizza. I had made a frozen pizza. I had took my pizza cutter and I was cutting it. And you know how sometimes you get that one piece of crust that just refuses to cut? And I was like, so what I did, I don't know why I did this, but I took the pizza cutter and I just kind of whacked the crust. I just whacked the crust. Only I didn't whack the crust. I missed the crust and whacked the stove, and it shattered. That just and I wasn't like a judge with a gavel who just sentenced to somebody for like a gajillion years in prison for corporate espionage, which is the most hated thing in America, right? No, it was just a tap. It was a tap with a pizza cutter. It was ridiculous, and it broke, just shattered. So we're like, okay, all right. We have a home insurance thing, and the home insurance, we call it the home insurance thing, and yeah, the glass top shattered. And they're like, okay, we'll call around to some repair places, and we'll see, what we can do. Nobody had a glass top. Like, nobody had a glass top for this thing. And they're like, well, yeah, so you can't get your stove fixed. It's like, we need a stove. So they gave us like a couple $100 for a $900 stove. Couple $100. That was sad and upsetting. So we did end up having to buy a new stove, and that's the stove we have now, which we got a nice stove. We actually got a nice stove on sale, which had a double oven and all that stuff like that for the same price, about $800. But yeah, it's just kind of crazy. I'm so sorry, guys. Let me catch up. There's a lot to catch up. I printed a picture of Lelouch from Code Geass on the toilet lid, and what I did is start pissing on the picture. What? Why? Oh my gosh, time for parental controls on the toilet, indeed. My existence is a conspiracy theory. I am not actually here. You're just having a collective hallucination. Bullshit, Ruby. Bullshit. Where do you think I got this title from? Not the parental shitter controls. And then how are you on the computer? It's a secret. Really weird way to use it as target practice, but it works. Hey, look, okay? They have these things. They've had them for so long. My brother had them. I never had them, but I remember like finding the leftover ones from my brother that never got used. And I was considering getting them for my kid. They're called pot shots, which are little targets. They're little targets on slips of paper. At any rate, I had to get a breaker box replaced for $6K. Why does that cost $6K? We got ours like completely redone for, I don't know, way less than that. That's the point of inflation. I thought the point of inflation was something else, but I hate a throwaway society. Yeah, no, I do too. But we've been like this. Like people think that's a new thing. I mean, we've been a throwaway society at least since what, the 80s or 70s, probably longer than that. Here, repairing stuff is like $100. I don't know why it's so expensive. I don't think it's inflation. I genuinely think it's kind of like one of those things where corporations set a price and then they just set a price to what people are willing to pay. And honestly, I think it's mainly because people are dumb, right? A person will go and look at a product and be like, oh, that is, something that used to sell for $20 is definitely worth $80 to me. And I guess I can't call people dumb for that reason. I mean, if it's worth it to them, it's worth it to them. It's just like really like unfortunate, And I'm sure inflation does have something to do with it too. I'm not saying it's not inflation or anything like that, but mine's from 2015 GE gas stove and it still works thing. Yeah, it's crazy. And these stupid these computers in these stoves, washers, dryers, dishwashers, your refrigerator, your freezer if you have a separate freezer, all of that stuff, all of it will go every freaking time, these stupid computers, and they're always $1,000, or they're always some ridiculous price, or they'll be like $200, and the guy that comes out to replace it, it's like, yeah, that's like a 6-hour job. It's like, motherfucker, I can pull a goddamn engine out of a car, fix it, and put it back in the damn car in 6 hours. You're telling me that takes 6 hours to take out of there and replace? Go fuck yourself. Jesus. Okay, I got a little angry. And absolutely, yes, before you guys go, wait, you can really take it. Yes, I can. If I have the proper tools, I can. Absolutely, 100%. I don't even think it would take me 6 hours. Now, obviously, it all depends on the car too. But most cars, yeah, I'm pretty sure I could. If I had the proper tools and a big enough garage to work in, I could. Viva socialism! Yes. Probably since the 60s design. And yeah, I'd say like, I was going to say like 60s, 70s, somewhere around there. 60s, 70s, 80s. The reason I think I got 80s in my mind is because, I know quite a bit about car culture. And I'm not saying like 70s were any kind of bastion of quality when it came to vehicles. Actually, way less so. But I think 80s is when there was the economic crisis. You just came out of like the great fuel disaster of blah blah blah, where fuel was like $5 a gallon at that time, and so like they started introducing all of the like the cafe rules and stuff like that. So cars became small and disposable, and most part kind of unreliable for a little while. Most things can be repaired here quickly for nothing. I would love that. I don't mind actually doing the work myself either. But I swear to God, they make some things more complicated than they have to be, just so that people won't fix it themselves. And they always have labels. This is not user serviceable. Okay. Yes, it is. You're just being a bitch. Start a new business. Everything everywhere is at a 99% discount as long as you give me the money. Doesn't matter what you're wanting. Just go grab it, take it. As is like, look, I got a deal for you. 99% discount on this Toyota Corolla in your neighbor's driveway. You can have it. Just give me the money. Look, it's worth like 10 grand, okay? It's worth like 10 grand. So like, pay me, what is that? Like $900, a grand or whatever. Wait, no, it'd be $100. It'd be $100. Yeah, roughly. So, give me money. Give me money. Give me the money. You could go take it. Look, look, don't come back to me. There's no liability here. We are a limited liability company. No liability. Yeah, try not to make chat political. Like, what I'm talking about may seem to be a little political sometimes, but I try not to keep it. I try to keep it away from that. Thank you for watching this episode of Tailani Rants. Look, we're not done yet. We're not done yet. You should see some of the garbage UK car makers were putting out. Oh, look, it's kind of legendary, actually. The awful nonsense. Like, I don't know how it is now, but like if you owned a UK car from I want to say it's like the 60s or the 70s, it was like well known. It's like you better be ready to spend some money to take care of it because the maintenance they required all the time was fucking ridiculous. Now, nobody said they were awful cars. Like a lot of people really enjoyed driving them, but they would break down so often, and you would have to like do some pretty crazy, like you couldn't just go to your local mechanic or anything like that. You kind of had to know what you were doing if you wanted one. It was kind of nuts. By the way, new car materials may break easier when you crash, but that saves your life. Yes. Okay, look, I know I have so many friends. I live in Wisconsin. I have so many friends. When they started going to cars that would crumple, they said that's bullshit. They'd be so argumentative about it. Be like, I just wrap me up in a steel car, bro. Just put me in a 1980s Crown Victoria or a fucking giant Dodge Ram from the 70s or something like that. It's like, look, you dumb fucking idiot. The rigidity of vehicles is what kills you in an accident, and other people. The crumple zones are actually what protect you. Why? Because they increase the length of time from you going 60 to 0. Which is very important, because what kills you in a car accident is G-forces. Right? So it reduces the amount of G-forces your body takes. So, yeah, that's a thing. And it's like, yeah, okay, there's going to be more damage and your car is probably going to be totaled, whatever. Get insurance. Don't give a fuck. You know, it's a small price to pay for your life, I think. Yeah, you know, because the main complaint is like, oh, it does so much damage and it costs so much money. It's like, yeah, I mean, it's kind of the trade-off. That's just how it works. Same thing with airbags. Oh, and seatbelts. Oh, the thing was like, seatbelts kill more people than, no, they don't. There hasn't been a goddamn, there hasn't been a thing that has ever said seatbelts kill more people than they save. Ever. As a matter of fact, that's very skewed. Or airbags. Airbags kind of had a weird, like, thing with them early on in their history, as far as I know. Like, where there were some deaths. And airbags do occasionally hurt people. But it's just because of their nature. I think nowadays they're way better refined and they don't cause many injuries. Actually, I had my finger broken by an airbag. And the weird thing is, I was driving a car, I hit a deer, and an airbag popped out, and the way I hold my finger on the steering wheel, it broke my finger because my finger was over the airbag when it blew. Yeah, that hurt like a bitch. Also, the preservative they put in that airbag crap is nasty. It's gross. It's this white powdery shit, and it's not the fun white powdery shit. Not that I would know. But yeah, and it's also sticky. Look, if I want something white and sticky, it's not airbag crap, okay? At any rate, it made the car smell awful. But yeah, it broke my finger. It's like, that thing, that is literally a bag that is deployed by an explosive. Because it has to be fat. It has to come out faster than your head can hit the steering wheel. So, yeah, it's interesting. The history of this stuff and people's complaints about it. Everybody complains. Right? Every time something new happens, everybody complains. Especially if it's for safety. It's like, we don't need that for safety. We don't need unleaded gasoline. Oh my God, I prefer leaded. I'm guessing that because the world has been flooded, or not flooded, like I'm guessing because the world has been like inundated with leaded gasoline, which I'm not even gonna go into the history of all that. That's why you prefer leaded gasoline. Your intelligence has probably dropped by a few increments. Yeah, just stuff like that. And now, like, they're trying to phase out, like, gas stoves and stuff like that, which, you know, lots of studies have shown that, like, in terms of, like, children and stuff like that, it's not very good to have gas in your home, right? Well, it's not good anyway. It's not good in general. However, there are lots of people who are angry. You're not taking my gas stove! Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Like, fucking relax. Nobody's taking your gas stove. Nobody's taking it. That's not what anybody's saying. It's so dumb. It's scary going from 60 to 0 in a couple seconds. 60 to 0 in a couple seconds, fine. 60 to 0 in like a couple milliseconds is usually where you want to avoid. Depends on which seatbelt iteration we're talking. I mean, there's bad seatbelts. I'm talking about the invention of the seatbelt in general. There's, of course, bad seatbelts that have failed and caused injuries or, you know, whatever the case may be. But in general, the whole thing about seatbelts is... Where am I going with this? Is like the fact that, like, it just saves lives. That's what it does. I mean... As a matter of fact, they only required, like, at first they only required lap belts. Then they started requiring your shoulder belt. That's called a 2-point harness. Because it holds you at your shoulder and it holds you at your lap. All right? If you really want safety, if you want to survive basically any crash, what you want is a 5-point harness. So basically what racers have when they're in their race cars, they're called a 5-point harness. It goes over each shoulder, around the lap. I'm trying to remember how this works. It goes over each shoulder, around the lap, and then there's two more, and then around something else. right? They are very insanely safe. It's crazy. As a matter of fact, when you see a child in a car seat, there's a reason why they don't have just a belt around their waist. They have, I think they're 5-point harnesses. Like my kids is a 5-point harness. That ain't going anywhere. I am more worried about the car seat being ejected from the seat than him being ejected from the car seat. That's basically what, it's kind of crazy. That little car was drivable after the crash. The deer was less intense. Oh my God, fucking deer. Did I talk about deer? I thought I talked about deer like a while back, and the silly little car, my neon. Oh yeah, and it was. I think it was a Discord though. Like I've had 2 Dodge Neons. I've hit a deer with both of them. The first one, that was the airbags deploying. That's where I broke my finger off of a deer. The second one, I almost got dedged by the deer because it was a 6-point or an 8-point buck or something like that. It came through the windshield, and its antlers poked a hole right next to my head in my headrest, which was insane. I almost died. I didn't even realize it until days later when my roommate pointed it out. But yeah, totally wrecked that car. Totally wrecked it. And the thing is I got to keep the deer. Like the way we figured is that I hit the shoulder of this deer with the hood, and then it came up and its head hit the roof of the car, and then its antler came through and hit the thing, of course. And all the meat was good, every bit of it. So like it was a very expensive deer. It's a very expensive load of meat, but I ate pretty good for a while off of that deer. It was pretty good. And then my friend got the head mounted because it was like an 8 or a 6-point buck. It was a nice buck. It was a nice buck. I always feel bad when I'm on a trip with my dad and he goes 200 kilometers an hour on an open road. Yeah, 160 miles an hour is kind of scary, not gonna lie. I've done it. I've done it. Dodge Stealths are much faster than people thought they were. Although, I've done it on a few occasions when I was younger because I used to really enjoy racing. I kind of wish I'd actually got into it as a sport. I really did, and did like track racing and stuff like that because I love racing. I fucking love it. I love the mathematics of it in my head. I love figuring that out. But yeah, 160 miles an hour is a scary speed if you're not used to it, and even if you are used to it. But it's also exhilarating. It's also very exhilarating. Don't do it, folks. Don't do 160 miles an hour on a road. Don't do 200 kilometers an hour. It's bad. You had them in the UK with a Chrysler badge. Didn't sell well. I guess it really depends. Like they sold like hotcakes here, because they were cheap. They were fairly reliable vehicles, and they're kind of cute. I remember a lot of people liking them because they were cute, which is actually consequently why I bought one like 20 years later. You know, I actually bought a couple of them because I liked them so much. But yeah, they were called the Chrysler Neon. We actually had the Chrysler Neon here too. It'd be the Chrysler Neon or the Dodge Neon. But then they released like the Generation 2 thing at some point, the Generation 2 body, and everybody started hating them. Both of mine were manuals, which were amazing. And they were kind of quick. They were surprisingly quick for a car. Like both mine were 1995s, and they had like lots of miles on them, and they were over 10 years old, right? Well, way over 10 years old. But the like both of them were 5 speeds, and they were quick. They were super quick, especially my second one. The second one I bought from a friend, and her brother was intending to use it for racing, for like actual racing, in like a small car racing league, not drag racing, like actually track racing. So it had like it had some pretty nice tires on it. It had a full welded exhaust, like a really nice one. It had upgraded. It had an upgraded intake with upgraded injectors. So it like had like, I want to say it was like 15 or 20 more horsepower than stock, which in a Dodge Neon is insane, by the way. Those things didn't weigh anything. They didn't weigh anything, right? So 20 extra horsepower in a car that I already put out, I think like 130, was nuts. It was crazy. But and then he had done like a bunch of lightning. He lightening of the car. So like a lot of the things throughout the car, such as insulation and stuff, had been removed to lighten up the car. So actually, as a matter of fact, I had to put speakers back in the car because he had taken the speakers out. The one thing, luckily, he hadn't taken out was like the door panels and stuff like that, which actually weigh a lot. And so I, because that would have pissed me off. It's like, no, I need door panels, please. But yeah, so it was kind of quick. It was kind of quick. I got a crazy story about that car and me getting smoked by a freaking GT350 once, like an old GT350. But that was my observational skills weren't very good when I was trying to race that Mustang. But I did hold up for a couple of seconds. I was there for a couple of seconds. I think the 350 was just, I don't know what was going on with it. It was not quick right off the line at first. I still need to get my license, but it's a huge time investment. I remember doing, as well as getting a fair chunk of out of pocket to pay for the paper class as well as a driving test. Yeah, no, it's expensive now. It's very expensive. I mean, it was expensive when I was, getting mine. Hi, I'm unless. I remember doing 90 once, going to Houston once, and then my tires. No, oh my god, tires exploding when you're doing any speed sucks. I've had that happen. I had that happen on a highway with one of my vehicles, and it lifted the entire car up, and it was scary. 300 to 400 for the at the wheel test. What? You want to know what's mind blowing? You want to know what's really mind blowing? It depends on where you guys live, but here, like in Wisconsin, I didn't do this with my driver's test, but I know you could do it with your not driver's test. I didn't do this with my driver's, like my normal driver's license, but I did this with my CDL. You know what I did? I went to the DMV. I took the test to get my permit to learn how to drive a truck, so you take the test and they make sure you know what you're doing. And then I did a bunch of driving with another driver and basically learned how to drive the truck. And then I learned how to do the inspection because that's an important thing with CDL. And then I just did the CDL driving test for 150. That was it. It was super cheap. Now, I don't know if you could do that with your normal driving test. I suspect that you can. I suspect that you could go in, you can do the test, get your permit. They give you your permit. You go out, you drive with a friend or something like that. You put in the required amount of hours. Your friend has to sign off on it. You make sure you know what you're doing. You go in for your driver's test. You pay whatever instatement fee that they caught, the test fee and stuff like that. Probably like a little over $100, $150 or something like that. And you get your license. If you want training, that's usually where it becomes expensive. Automatic seems to be on an upward trend. They're much easier to use. Well, yeah. And there was an argument for manual transmissions not too long ago. Say 10 years ago. Manual transmissions would get better fuel mileage than automatics because people would short shift. So they would shift at a much lower RPM than you generally are supposed to. It doesn't really hurt the car, but it would save gas inadvertently. However, automatics didn't have that advantage. Automatics always shifted at a certain point depending on how much throttle you're giving it. However, car manufacturers have realized, oh shit, if we put more gears in our transmissions, they become way faster and also way better fuel mileage. This is why you have things coming out that have 8, 9, 10 gears in their automatic transmissions, and now they are way better than manuals. Like by far. Also, manuals tend to be cheaper because you have less problems with the transmission. However, you have more maintenance. Like eventually you're gonna have to replace the clutch. Eventually you're gonna have to replace like certain things in the car. It's just inevitable. Whereas an automatic transmission doesn't have as much of the maintenance. It just has, it's more expensive if something does go wrong with it. So it's kind of a horse apiece. However, the ease of use of an automatic is usually where everybody's at. And, you know, a lot of people don't like it, especially truckers, but trucks are going automatic now. A lot of trucks are going automatic because they get better fuel mileage, and which is important in the trucking, like incredibly important in the trucking industry. And they also are very, very much more reliable than they used to be. The first automatic truck I drove, that thing had problems all the time. The new ones are pretty good. But all the old fogies are going to complain, oh, just give you my manual transmission. It's like, fuck off, dude. You don't even use the clutch. You float gears. We know you float gears because it's fucking annoying having to push that stupid pedal down freaking 17 times. Well, okay, let's be fair. You're not even doing that. You're starting off in like 6th gear, and you're probably skipping gears. So actually, you're probably only shifting like 6-7 times, okay? However, you're not even using the clutch. You're just floating the gears. We know what you're doing because everybody does it, right? Every fucking person does it, right? In automatic, you just push the accelerator. That's all you got to do. Okay, there's more involved in that. I'm not going to reduce it to just that. But it's less involved. And then people will be like, well, you know, with a manual, if you really need that grunt gear because you need the torque, or you're in any kind of specific situation, it's like, it doesn't matter. Automatics can do that. As a matter of fact, they're specifically designed to be able to do that. They're specifically designed with gears that are grunty when you need them. There's no excuse. There's no excuse anymore. No excuse. Not one. Hello, Cappuccino. Welcome to the stream. Driving tests cost 60 euros or whatever the hell. It's not euros anymore, right? You got like British pounds or whatever. I'll pound you. Anyways, you'll be spending the majority of your money on lessons. You've spent over 1,500 on lessons so far. Ouch. Like seriously, ow. No, that's not like ow. We used to like offer driver's ed in schools. At first it was free, but then they changed it to like you had to pay for it, right? And it wasn't super, like I think it was like $100 or something like that. And then they just got rid of it for some reason. This is why, you know, I suspect that this is why so many people don't actually have driver's licenses now. Other than the prevailing thing is like, I'm scared of driving, which is a very weird shift in how people feel about it, but it's okay. Like, I get it. But like, since they took driver's ed out of school, so many people don't know how to drive anymore. And it's like, we don't live in that kind of society anymore. Unless you're living in a city, maybe. We don't live in a society where you can kind of go without. You either need to live in a city or you need to live somewhere that has very good public transportation, like Japan, right? And I don't. If I didn't have a driver's license, I'd be fucked. I would be so fucked. I go like there's 4 miles to one town just to a stupid grocery store, and it's 10 miles to the other. I mean, I could get a bike, but I mean, okay, first off, going to a town 10 miles away on a bike, you're still looking at an hour one way, you know, unless you got a decent bike thing to go a little bit faster, then maybe 45 minutes. And then you're going to get groceries or something like that. You're not bringing that home on a bike. Now, everybody's situation is different, of course. For me, it's just not feasible. You have to have a driver's license around here. As a matter of fact, people who don't have driver's licenses around here generally have a hard time with their living situation, especially around here, because around here is expensive, and around here doesn't have good jobs. So your commute time around my area, if you want to make somewhat decent money, is probably at least 25 minutes. At least. Sometimes an hour. And people might go, well, fuck, is that worth it? I mean, yeah, it can be. It can be around here. But yeah, especially where I live, like it's very, 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 very kind of like isolated. But that's crazy. My only fear of driving is my car stops on a bridge. Yeah, that would be scary. Not gonna lie, that'd be scary. Especially if they don't have a good pull-off lane. It's a great feeling when you get told you passed. Oh my God, I got a story about that. Oh my God, don't skip ahead. Jeez, silly little chat box. Want to know what a Trabant is? Yes, I do. 40-year-old East German car, driven one of those things. Oh, you drove a Trabant? I've seen them. I watch a car channel where they review cars, and they were they drove a Trabant around, and they're kind of nuts. Callie requires 50 hours with someone 25 or older, an entire course and test, and then an actual driving. Entire course and test, and then an actual driving test. So generally, you will have a road aptitude test where basically it's like, what is this sign? How do you handle this situation? What do you do in this case? So you kind of display a knowledge of the laws, and then this is what it is here. And then you have probably like 50 hours of driving with somebody. I think, 25 or older makes sense because they want to make sure people have enough experience, and then they got to sign off. There's a log. You got to sign off on whatever hours. But yeah, I think that's pretty normal. That's definitely pretty normal, and I think it's fine. As far as the entire course and test, test makes sense. I don't know what the course is, so maybe they have a special course you have to take. I've driven a Lada once. I got to 120 kilometers an hour. The more gears a car has, the more efficient it is, and generally it accelerates faster. Experience it firsthand sometimes. Oh my God. I jumped in. I don't know what it was. We had a rental car once, and I just needed to go to the store. My mom had this rental car because she was home, and she had a rental car. She drove the rental car, and she's like, yeah, just take the car because it's parked my car in. So I'm like, all right. And I was going to go to the store. I pulled out, and I got a short run of a road before I go on the main road, right? And now, mind you, this is a small Ford. It was a small, was it a Dart? It was some kind of small Ford, newer small Ford. And so I go up to the stop sign of the short runner road. I maybe was doing 5 miles an hour, and I just gently push on the brakes, and I damn near go through the windshield. Like, holy fuck. The brakes on this thing are insane. And then, so I'm looking around, and these people speed down this road by me so much. And so there was a car coming, and there's a bunch of other cars coming, so I was going to have to wait unless I went right then and there. So I stepped on it. I got around the corner, and I stepped on it to speed up. And I went from 0 to 50 before it even registered in my head what was happening. Right? The speed limit's normal speed limit. It's 25 miles an hour. It's 250. And I'm like, what the fuck is this car? So I got it in my head. I'm like, okay, once I got on the actual highway, I floored it, and that thing is a beast. I'm like, this stupid little Ford, or I would say Dodge. It wasn't a Dodge Dart. It was a Ford, but it was like a Dodge Dart. So it was a Ford. I don't think they had. Well, what the fuck was it? Was it a Focus? No, it wasn't a Focus. It was something really small. But anyways, is this Ford thing, and not the. Anyways, you know what I mean. So but yeah, it was insanely fast. And then if you even bothered to look down at the brake to see where it was, it would register your presence, and it would stop. That is how sensitive the brake was. That was I was almost like, this would be a fun car to have, but I was like, nah, this has got to be a fluke. This little fucking thing. And yeah, it had eight speeds. It was an 8-speed transmission. That's what I found when I looked it up later. I guess it was just because the car is so light. It's a very light car, despite standards for newer cars and stuff like that. It was actually a very light car, and it put out 230 horsepower in this car that barely is scraping 3,500 pounds. That's nuts. My car's about 4,000 pounds. and it puts out maybe 180 when it was new. So maybe probably like 150, 160 now, if I'm lucky. And that car is pretty fast. That car is pretty quick. This car's putting out like 60 more horsepower, brand new. When my car was brand new, then yeah, it was nuts. It was a freaking crazy ride. I wish I it was like some small Ford car. I don't know. I've driven Fords before. They're not that fast usually. Not even the Mustangs. I've driven so many Mustangs and they're all kind of doggy. They're all kind of doggy. I hate to say that. Listen, I've driven 5.0s from the 90s that were like all built up and stuff like that. Well, I mean built up meaning visually built up. That was like meh. They couldn't even roast the tires. I've driven old Fox bodies from the 80s that had 5.0s in them, and they can be really fast. Actually, those Fox bodies can be really fast, but they're ugly as fuck. I used to hate how they look. Now I kind of like how they look. It's kind of weird. Maybe it's just time passing and I got new opinions. Trucking is already hard enough, and it's more efficient to shift without the clutch. No, I totally agree. I totally agree. Look, nobody wants to sit there and push a goddamn clutch down, 7-8 times every time you need to start rolling. Okay, you get your truck rolling and then you float like a motherfucker. I do understand that, but it's like if you're gonna do that anyways, just have the automatic, right? Just have the automatic. There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with the automatic. As a matter of fact, the Volvo I drove, the Volvo with the automatic in it, that really nice one, it's like a VNL 780 or something like that, right? It was like a few years old. Oh my God. The thing was like, it's like the inside of Darth Vader's bathroom. Like literally, you have all of your functions and then you have a joystick. You have a joystick on your arm, on your seat arm. And that is how you shift the gears. You can manually shift. It's an automatic, but you can manually shift. You can select what gear you want when you want it. Kind of just like cars that let you do that. Some cars are better at it than others, but this one, yeah, it would let you do that. And when you're in automatic mode, it would also let you tap it down or tap it up, or mainly tap it down. So like if you're anticipating a hill and you want to speed up a little or have the torque ready when you need it, you could do that. It has so many amazing functions, right? Including lane assist, which I used to not be like really keen. I used to not really be like, oh, I like this, and then I experienced what lane assist actually was, and it's awesome. I love it. I fucking love it. I genuinely do, because lane assist, there are times where like if your mind just happens to wander for a second or something like that, and you get too close to one of those lines, it just gently nudges you back over and then usually beeps at you or gives you a little rumble in your steering wheel to let you know that it happened, or that you're approaching the center line or the fog line. It's cool. I love it. I so much love it. The adaptive cruise control, fuck yeah. I don't know why anybody would hate these features, but there's people who do. It's like, well, I don't want anything else controlling my truck. Well, you just turn it off if you don't want it. Like, you don't have to use it. It's all like, you just hit a button and it's like, all right, drive normal, But one of my buddies, who's also a truck driver, before I got to actually experience what lane assist and stuff was like, he had a truck that was that had lane assist and everything on it. He had some like amazing Peterbilt from the company that he worked for. He used to deliver nuclear materials, not actually like radioactive materials, but like materials for nuclear power plants. But yeah, he had this crazy heavy hauler truck that they would let him use. And he's like, yeah, first time I got in it, he's like, I didn't use my turn signal, because this is a key to how lane assist works. He's like, I didn't use my turn signal, and I tried to go, get past somebody on like a 3-lane highway, and it was fighting against me until I realized that they had this like lane assist thing, and he's like, I guess you have to have because you have to have the turn signal on. Otherwise it will. Now it doesn't force you. It just gives you a little resistance, because it's trying to gently nudge the steering wheel back into the lane you're in, right? It's not forcing you. You can easily overpower it and still make the lane change you're doing or whatever. However, because he forgot to turn his turn signal on, it activated the lane assist. So once you turn your turn signal on, it deactivates the lane assist and just lets you change lanes like normal. So yeah, it's just really cool. I love this. I don't know about the full self-driving thing yet, but I do love this like little bits of technology that make things a little bit easier and keeps you from making that small mistake that'll kill you, right? Wandering. Look, it happened to me the other day. I was driving to a restaurant. I was picking up breakfast, and I was driving with the window down. It was really beautiful out. I love having the window down. And all of a sudden, I get thwacked on my forehead by something. It felt like a goddamn rock. And then I felt something hit my lap. And I heard a buzzing noise. And I'm like, oh, fuck me, right? I'm lucky I didn't get stung. I look down, it's a goddamn bee. Of course it's a bee. And it's wiggling around like it's hurt. It's half dead. It's wiggling around in my pants. So I'm looking down and I'm trying to figure out what is the best way to get this motherfucker off of me without dying, right? And in that split second, that like 2 seconds that I was paying attention to this stupid ass bee on my leg, I had partially wandered into the other lane and another car was coming. Luckily, I had regathered my brain almost immediately, say within that couple of seconds, and got myself back into my lane. That could have been a fucking disaster. If I had lane assist, that would have never happened. As a matter of fact, it would have warned me that I was wandering into that lane, and my focus would have went from that to what I was doing, or, what I was driving. So at that point, like it happened all in a very few seconds, and then this bee had actually fallen off my leg, so I was fine. But it's stupid stuff like that. I'm a good driver. I genuinely am a good driver, but you can't account for extraordinary shit happening like that. Like nobody is gonna keep their focus after being whacked in the forehead by a fucking bee and then being afraid of being stung on their lap. You will. It's not like you don't realize what's going on. It's not like you don't realize, oh shit, I gotta pay attention to the road. It just, everything happens so fucking quickly that you don't have enough time. So in 2 seconds, or probably even less than that, I had wandered past the center line, just slightly, but enough, that the other person had to kind of move over a little bit to make sure I didn't hit them. And mind you, we're doing highway speeds. It would have been a combined speed of probably 120 miles an hour. That would have hurt. That would have hurt way more than the bee. So it's easy to say, oh, well, you shouldn't have been distracted. It's like, no, it's human nature. When something hits you in the face and then lands on your lap, you're going to look at it. And then when you find out it's a bee, your overriding instinct is like, I don't want to be stung today. What do I do? And in that split second, that was your priority over driving your car. And it's normal. It's natural for that to happen. There's also other times where your brain is wandering. If you're not listening to the radio or something, and you're just, I don't say daydreaming, but you're just thinking in your brain of things, like, as people tend to do. Sometimes your thoughts will go from the road and lightly on whatever you're talking or thinking about, and go heavily into what you're thinking about. I'm sure some of you who drive have experienced where you have driven, especially on a road that you know very well, and maybe you were sitting there thinking about something, and then you get to your destination and you're like, I don't remember a single part of that entire trip. That's, when you do that, that is scary as fuck. That's happened to me a few times. And it's really scary. It's like, no, you made it just fine, but you don't remember any of it. You don't remember any of it because you weren't paying attention. Oh, and maybe some of it's just like it's so mundane that you're not really going to register or anything. But like that happens quite a bit. It's kind of crazy. Muscle cars are overrated anyways. Fox Body Mustang is reminiscent of an old UK Ford Escort. Yes, actually, it's funny. I think that's why I started liking them somewhat, because I've had Mercury Tracers, which are Ford Escorts. I've had Ford Escorts. Mind you, I was kind of like into the whole street racing thing for a while. So it was a lot of fun. And they were just cheap, easy cars to work on. But the Ford, the 80s and 90s Ford Escort was almost exactly like the same body. It was just smaller than a Mustang. And you're like, oh, I don't think so. Like if you look at them side by side, their base package, you look at a Fox body, you look at an Escort and go, no, I don't think that's the same. It's when you put the spoilers on the back. They look almost exactly the same. One is just smaller. And goddamn, the Ford Escort GT, it had this 1.8 liter 4-cylinder in it that would put out, it's not a lot today, but at the time it would put out like a little over like 110 horsepower. And mind you, the fucking Escort, these Escorts were like maybe 2,200 pounds, maybe 2,500 pounds, something like that. They had really cool like aluminum rims, and they were like, they sounded nice. Like I don't know. Escorts were really cool. And then I think that's why I started really liking the Ford Mustangs, as long as it had the spoiler on it. Because the Fox body without the spoiler, it just has that trunk that just kind of goes down. It's like, that looks dumb. The problem with the Fox body Mustang is the 5-liter. The 5-liter was not a good like a lot of people love the engine, but I think it's just because it's really moddable. Like you can get you need a lot of mods for it. Obviously, because it's such an old engine. But the problem with the 5-liter Mustang is that in order to get actual power out of it, you had to put so much money into it. Like, I mean, you have to like turbocharge or supercharge it or anything like that. But like, if you wanted a good 5-liter that could actually put out some decent power, like you had to have it, you go through it, bore it over. You had to like essentially basically replace a lot of the valves. You had to replace the pistons and the piston rods. If you really wanted to go ham, you could get a new crankshaft for it that was, lighter. The 5.0s had potential. They had that building potential. That's why people loved them so much. But straight off the lot, they sucked. They were fucking dogs. Not as bad as like some engines, but yeah, they're pretty bad. And I'm no fan of the 4.6 either that replaced it. Ugh. Although I have gotten to drive a few police interceptors. Those are cool. Those are neat. Oh my gosh. See you later, Tailani. Everyone else, thanks for streaming on my birthday. It's your birthday? Oh shit. Happy birthday, Ian, if you get to see this. Happy birthday. I'm just trying to catch up with chat. Driving in big cities be like disregard regulation, use your imagination. Ah, yeah. I think that's basically anywhere you go, right? People are in. I've had dumb shit happen in cities. I've had dumb shit happen everywhere, but cities mainly. Especially cities. I was going to say in the South, but that's not fair. It has nothing to do with South or North. It literally just depends on if you're in a city, really. It's like people just don't know how to drive. And I suspect it's like a self-feeding problem, right? Because you have people who, they might start out driving well, but then they drive in a city and everybody else is driving like shit. So they just kind of start learning to drive like shit. And then everybody just drives more and more like shit because everybody else is driving like shit. And that's basically just how you have to survive. Yet another reason driving is stupid dangerous. It can be. Driving is dangerous. Traveling is dangerous anywhere because you always have to deal with drivers. However, I will say that driving is at its most dangerous when you're inexperienced, mainly because you don't have your defensive driving skills. You don't have the skills to understand organically and quickly how situations are coming to be. So like, you kind of, after a while, you kind of develop a sixth sense for possible accidents. One of the things they actually teach you in truck driving school and in my normal driving course was how to spot an accident waiting to happen. How to spot potential hazards is what they would call it. So somebody waiting on a curb to cross the street that you're driving on is a potential hazard, obviously. So a car waiting at a stop sign, waiting to go. Are they going to pull out in front of you, or are they going to wait for you to pass? So like you always, those are like really easy ones, but there's like ones that develop that there's no way you could be aware of, and how you respond is often dependent on how much experience you have, you know? So like anything, I mean, everybody's probably been, I think most people have probably been in car accidents. Hell, I was in 2 accidents. I was in 2 accidents before I even had a driver's license. I wasn't driving. One time my bus got hit. We were just driving down a road 25 miles an hour, and somebody pulled out of a driveway and just sideswiped our freaking bus. It's like, wow, that thing is 40 feet long, and it's yellow, like bright fucking yellow. How do you miss that? I have no idea. And then another time, I think I said this before. I was riding with my friend. He was driving. We pulled out of a truck stop and got hit by an F-150 doing probably like 50, 55, 60, somewhere in there. And that was a bad accident. Luckily everybody was okay, but well, relatively okay. My buddy was not okay. He had a concussion because his head bounced off of mine. He got a concussion from me. I was okay. I was a little emotionally traumatized, but I was okay. The 5.0 is overrated. 4.6 is best of both worlds for power and fuel economy. Now probably. Yeah, I think back when it came out, a lot of people, like, because I've heard stories about the 4.6 and how at the time it just really sucked because there wasn't much for it. I'm guessing it's because the modding community is like, oh well, fuck, you know. As long as the 5.0 was in production, the modding community knew they would always be able to find parts. There would always be mods for them because it was a really popular engine. So that's probably why everybody was so negative about the 4.6. But calling it a day now. Enjoy. Thank you. You enjoy your day too. I'm so happy you get to celebrate your birthday. I hope you have a lot of fun. Hate when people won't let you change lanes in traffic. Oh yeah, that's always sucks. That's always sucks. It's like some people are like they'll get offended. They'll get offended because you need to change a lane and they'll stop you from doing it. It's like, why? In order to pass UK theory test, you must be good at seeing developing hazards. It's like one of the best skills you can have. Take it seriously. Take that particular thing seriously. Understanding that even if you're driving perfectly, other people are maybe not be, or any reason. You know, think about what you would do if an animal jumped out in front of you. I don't know how prevalent that is in the UK. I'm sure it happens, but like here in like Wisconsin, we have fuckloads of deer. It happens anytime you go out on the road. Your eyes are looking all over for deer, always, and they will pop out in front of you, and it's just that fast. I've seen a deer. Okay, so when I was riding with my mom once, we had a deer cross an entire field. She never knew it was coming. I barely saw it before it hit us, or before we hit it, technically. But it was halfway across the field and in the road in about 3 seconds. Those things are fucking ridiculously fast. And we nailed it dead on. My mom still didn't know what happened. It was like slow motion for me. She hit this deer, and I was watching this deer. It never tumbled or anything like that. It never tumbled. It lifted up and then flew about 50 feet ahead of us. And it perfectly stayed upright. And its head was looking at our car, looking at us like we had betrayed it somehow. Like, how could you have done this? I'm not exaggerating this. It was slow motion. It's so vivid in my brain. Watching this deer just bodily lifted up, never tumbling. Its back is in the air. Its feet are pointing towards the ground, but it's sideways and it's flying that way with its head looking at us like it was just mortally betrayed by its best friend. I don't know why. And then it hit the ground and it did its thing. And then my mom was like, she stopped. She just stopped in the middle of the road. And she's like, what the, you know, like, what the hell? I don't like, you just hit a deer. She's like, where did it come from? I'm like, look, just pull the car over the side of the road. Cause she's not freaking out, but she's like, totally came out of nowhere for her. So she wasn't paying attention because we were talking. And she pulls over to the side of the road. Well, what do we do? It's like, well, we got to check out the car, make sure the car is okay. Because we're like, you know, a quarter of a mile away from our house. We check out the car, make sure the car is okay. Make sure the deer isn't going to get back up and beat her ass for our epic betrayal of its fucking trust or something like that. And then basically drive home, I guess. I wasn't interested in keeping the deer, so just whatever. It was off the road, if I remember right. So yeah, then we drove it home, called the insurance company. It's like, it was crazy. It was $12,000 worth of damage to the car. $12,000 fucking dollars. It was so much money, it almost totaled the car. And the airbags didn't even pop. The airbags didn't even go off. So, yeah, it was kind of nuts. It was kind of crazy. But yeah, that's the kind of thing. It's like, you're always looking around. So what do? Most people, when they see something running at them, like an animal, and they think they're going to hit it, their instinct is to swerve. And that will kill you. Right? That you'll lose control of your vehicle. You'll go into a ditch. You'll hit a tree. You'll hit another car. That will kill you. As a matter of fact, we are specifically in Wisconsin told and essentially trained to just hit it. Just hit the deer. Just hit the animal. It's like, yes, you may not like it, but it's better than death. It may do damage to your vehicle, but it's better than dying. And it's true, unfortunately. It's like, there's nothing you can do about it. I mean, it doesn't matter to me. I made up my mind unless I get strong-armed and do it now. My lessons only prove for sure how I feel. I mean, yeah, all right. You have a very soothing voice today. Oh, thank you. I second that. So smooth that I fell asleep for... Oh, no. I can't have a... Like, that just says I'm boring. Happened on Wednesday. Cat ran in front of the car and was hit by oncoming car. Thankfully, they're okay. The cat or the people in the car? I'm assuming the cat. Tay does indeed I do have a nice voice. It's very pretty. I always get really harshed on my... Like, I always shit on my voice. But yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. Usually the worst, we have a fox running across the road and just end up as roadkill. I mean, yeah, that happens. We got all sorts of shit. We have like raccoons, squirrels, possums, foxes, all cats, of course, and dogs. It's always very unfortunate. I really, really hate. I've seen in my life a couple dogs get hit by other cars, and including my own dog got hit by a car when I was much younger, and it's devastating. It's devastating as the person driving the car to see, because like for me, I have never hit one, but I know so many people who have hit a dog, and your overriding concern after making sure everything else is okay, if the dog died, you want to go find the owner and be like, hey, this happened. But then that's also scary because some owners, like, they will blame you. They'll absolutely 100% blame you, even though it wasn't your fault, even though their dog was out on the road where it didn't belong. Some of them will blame you. And I'm sure some have gotten violent in the past. I've never heard of anything like that, but absolutely, you'll get chewed out. It's like, look, I just driving down the road. I wasn't even speeding, and I'm sorry I hit your dog, and I came to tell you because I cared. Some people would just drive away. I mean, I can't 1,000% blame somebody for just driving away because they just like, I don't want to get yelled at, you know, or I don't want to see the look on their face. There are some people. I had a friend. We were driving along this road. She was driving. I was passenger in this car, and in the oncoming lane, we were kind of out in the country, but we were passing this house, and in the oncoming lane, a dog. We were like a few hundred feet away yet. A dog had run across the road, and the oncoming car had hit the dog and killed it. And the car basically just kept going, and we stopped. We stopped because my friend, she was so fucking distraught by what she had just seen, because she's a very big animal lover, especially dogs. And this is a German Shepherd, so it probably hit home for her because she's a big lover of German Shepherd. She's had several. And the car just drove on. She's basically screaming out at her window at this car as it drives past. So we get out, we check on the dog, it had died. And the owner had come running out, and he was screaming. Right? Not at us. He was screaming for the obvious reasons he was screaming. And he looked at us, he's like, what happened? And we're just like, another car hit your dog. They drove off. We were just yelling at them. And we didn't even know what to do. The guy was just done. Like he just couldn't even function. Luckily, his wife or whoever was with him or whatever had come out and got him calmed down. Like, you want to see a dude cry? You want to see that stoic guy, the guy who doesn't show his emotions a lot? You want to see that guy? You want to see him cry? Let him lose a pet, and you'll see it. You'll see it 1,000%. You'll let him, when he loses his pet. It will destroy him. So, which is awful. It's an awful experience. But yeah, so he was not in good shape. But luckily he had somebody else there. So after, we kind of gave our condolences, and I calmed my friend down who was driving. Actually, she had me drive because she was bawling too. Like, they were both a wreck. And but I got her calmed down enough to get in the car, and then we took off. And it's something that is like just so burned into my memory because it happens to a lot of people. But yeah, like animals running out into the middle of the road, especially, your first thought is to swerve out of the way so you don't hit the animal. But that gets you in more trouble, essentially. Oh yeah. Let's see here. I've driven in northern Maine a few times, and up there, you always got to be watching for moose. Oh God, moose. They're like walking walls that will demolish your car, and probably, yeah, moose are fucking nuts. Moose are fucking crazy. We don't get moose here, as far as I know. We probably get them in northern Wisconsin, I'm guessing. But moose are like deer on fucking steroids. And I would never want to hit one. As a matter of fact, my buddy had a big truck. It was a heavy duty truck. It was a dually. And he was out in like Montana or some shit like that. And he hit something smaller than a moose. It was a deer, but they're called mule deer because they're fucking huge, right? As in, like, they can hit well over 300 pounds on average. And basically destroyed his truck when he hit it. And it basically stranded him there for a month with his children and his wife. So yeah, the bigger the animal, more sucks. My fear, like, I hate the idea of hitting a deer. My biggest fear is a bear or a cow. I've almost hit a cow before. You might be like, oh, Tay, well, why are you driving through fields? No, the cow was on the fucking road because it's just like, oh, there's a fence? I don't care. And, it happens when you live among so many farms. And if you hit a cow, I believe the prevailing legal theory is that you are responsible for that cow, as in you need to pay the farmer for it, which is, it might seem ass backwards because they should have their cows corralled. However, in some weird twist of fate, cows have the right of way in Wisconsin. If you see a cow and you hit it, you're responsible. I almost hit the cow because I was coming up over a hill where I literally just couldn't see, and I was doing the speed of the road. I think it was 55, 60 miles an hour. And I mean, I stopped in time. I didn't have to like slam on the brakes or anything like that. But if the cow had been maybe a few hundred feet up the road over the hill, I absolutely would have hit it. And those things aren't 200-300 pounds. Those things are like 1,000 or 2,000 pounds. I'm not even sure how much they actually weigh, right? I think they're like between 1,000 and 2,000 pounds, possibly more. So yeah, I fucking hitting a cow. Plus, I really love cows. Cows are great. Cows are awesome. They're like, they're farm puppies. They're literally farm puppies. Especially if you get farmers that really love their animals and stuff like that. Yeah, cows can be awesome. How's everybody day going today? My day is going good. I'm getting a haircut soon, so I'm super excited. About a half an hour, I'm gonna get out of here, and then I'm gonna go get my haircut. So, you're not boring. You just make me feel. I know, but it kind of feels that way. It's like, no, I don't want people to fall asleep during my stream. I want them excited and wanting to talk to me. Oh my gosh, I've had too many close calls, almost hitting dogs. I hope it doesn't. It's an awful experience for everybody. It's an awful experience for your average animal lover. It's an awful experience for that animal's owner, obviously. And it's just, I don't know. It's easy to go to an animal owner and be like, well, you should have better control over your animals. And for some people, that is right. Some people don't really pay attention to their animals enough to make sure they're not running around in traffic. However, I think most owners do. Like, my dog got hit on accident because one of my friends was staying with us, and our dog always loved to go outside. So if you weren't paying attention and you opened the door, he would bolt, and that's exactly what happened. He bolted out the door. Nothing that could be done. He's fast. He's a fast little fucker. He's a little Bichon. He's a little Bichon Frise. They're fast. They're very playful. So as soon as my friend started running after him, he ran. He bolted out into the road and got hit. And the guy stopped and was freaked the fuck out. And there's just nothing we could do. So, and it just sucks. It happens. But that happens a lot. I mean, it could be any reason why an animal might be out in the road. So I generally don't think about it in terms, at least for me, I don't think about it in terms of like people being always irresponsible or anything. But I mean, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen to somebody, and it's awful. My stepdad makes an effort to help them. If nothing else, he does what he can to ease their final. Yeah, I think most people can be compassionate enough to an animal, especially like one that's been hit. I mean, like, most people can empathize with that, right? It must be awful to be hit by a car, especially for an animal that doesn't know what happened. You as a human being might have known what happened, the mistake you made, as you're lying there in pain, essentially. The animal doesn't know. They just know that all of a sudden they're injured, right? They got hit by something. So, yeah, it's kind of crazy. And it's awful to think about. I was driving a small two-way road. In front of me was a motorcycle with two ladies. For some reason, I thought two old ladies, like two little old ladies with gray hair. And they're riding like on a Harley. And there's not like a sidecar. Like, there's like an old lady with another old lady on a motorcycle. I don't know why that popped in my head. Now, don't get me wrong. I've seen people of all ages, shapes, and sizes ride motorcycles. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with older people riding motorcycles, and there's nothing wrong with old ladies riding motorcycles. But for some reason, that is just absolutely hilarious to my brain. And honestly, if I saw that in real life, it would be fucking amazing. It would brighten up my day. Especially if it was like something like a really loud Harley, just like, because it's all Harleys do. I mean, it's all Harley's engines do is they produce noise. They don't produce horsepower. They produce noise. Or it'd be funny as like an older lady or something like that who's driving like a ninja, or something. Oh, what am I thinking? The GTR, the motorcycle GTR or GTX, like one of the race bikes. I just want to see this now. And I'm sure there's somebody out there. I'm sure there's older women out there that exist that try these things or race. I've seen some insane shit in my life. I've seen some insane shit in my life. It actually gives me hope for when I get old, because when I get old, I genuinely hope that I'm gonna be able to do, you know, things that I love or explore new things and stuff like that. Like I don't think getting old is an excuse to not do stuff, to be fair. I hope it ends up as you want it. Oh, my hair, I know, it's so hard. I think I'm gonna get it cut short, guys. It's so long, I know, but I think I'm gonna get it cut short. I really do. I'm gonna get it cut short, maybe like a reverse bob or something. I don't know about a reverse bob. They're cute, but or maybe something curly. I don't know. I have no idea. Well, the thing is, I'm gonna be with my mom too, and my mom really doesn't know. Either that or she's blissfully ignorant about. Although I think the headband with the ribbon has probably maybe. No, I don't think she knows. Moose meat burns real easy since moose have no fat almost. Deer are the same way. Deer are very lean. Deer are very, very lean meat. They're really good. I love venison jerky, though. Venison jerky is yummy. Oh, my God. I kind of want some venison now. I haven't had venison in a long time. Although, to be fair... Oh, actually, I mean, it's been a few years. I think a friend of mine processed a deer a while back and made some really, really good jerky. I fucking... Like, guys, jerky's good. I'm sure you guys have all had jerky. I'm sure you guys have all had jerky, but I'm not gonna say 100% for sure, because I mean, maybe, I don't know, maybe somewhere else in the world they don't have jerky. Although it seems very suspect because jerky is like a common like preserved food, but I have no idea. You can make jerky out of anything. You can make, I don't know. Oh, okay, I don't know if you can make vegetable jerky, but I'm pretty. Oh yeah, because they have like dried fruits and stuff. That's basically fruit jerky. Next time you go eat your dried apple slice, call it fruit jerky, please. Just call it fruit jerky. That's fucking hilarious. I just want to call it fruit jerky. Ah, man. In a few hours, I got an appointment where I hopefully get my ADHD met. Yeah, that would be really nice. When you hit the level where it's actually helping, you'll notice. Like, it is night and fucking day. And it's amazing because I'll take my meds. And I will go from being kind of basically unmotivated and blah, and my mind being all over the place, scattered, to being very motivated and super focused on things and being able to get stuff done. Like Wednesday, for example, oh my God, I did so much shit. I got so much crap done, and there was no like downtime where I was like, what do I do next? How do I do it? And like the anxiety that comes along with that, or the fact that, or like, it didn't come with like, you know, where I felt stuck because I had no idea what to start first. And that was causing like a traffic jam in my head. For those of you who have ADHD, you know exactly what I'm talking about, right? Like when you get stuck, you have stuff to do, but you're stuck because you have to do this, and you also have to do this, and you also have to do this. Which one do you start first? For most people would just pick one and go, oh, just do this one first. For the person with ADHD, it's like, I have no idea which one to pick. And then you get discouraged and upset at yourself, and then you just don't end up doing any of them. Right? Or you have the more classic version of ADHD where you're like, I start this project. Oh, I should really get this other thing done real quick before whatever nebulous reason in your head that you have. So like you'll be halfway through this project, then you'll do that one. And then when you're done with that one, you're like, oh, I might as well get my third task out of the way too. And then I'll go back to the first one and finish that one up. So you go do your third task, maybe, if you can manage your way through it. And then by the time you're done with that one, you come back to the first task and you're like, I kind of don't want to do that now. I'll leave it till tomorrow. ADHD is awful. It's so bad. And the more I think about it, the more I realize how much ADHD has honestly fucked up my life, the more pissed I get about thinking about it. The more angry I get at it. It's like, God damn, I hate this. I love seeing old short ladies in muscle cars. I know. I know. I fucking love that too. I saw the sweetest, cutest thing the other day. I think this is brought up for obvious reasons, but I saw this older gentleman and I'm guessing his wife on a motorcycle. It was a bagger. It was probably like a what are they? It's probably like a Goldwing, a really nice bike, and they're big. They're big bikes, but they're very comfortable. They're like the Cadillacs of bikes, essentially. And he's getting on it. He's getting on it, and his wife gets on it. And mind you, these two people are probably in their like 70s. And I'm like, that's actually awesome, and I fucking love it. Yes, I want to get things done. I know. I had rotten luck with ADHD meds. They had a bit of an effect at first, but then they sort of compounded my anxiety. Well, yeah, anxiety. So the thing with anxiety, because I have severe anxiety. It's actually worse than my depression, my anxiety. I was diagnosed with like severe anxiety something, and then major depressive disorder or something like that. So the thing with anxiety is anxiety can cause a massive release, especially if you're getting close to panic attacks, of adrenaline. And if you coincide that with a major stimulant like ADHD medications, which can raise your heart rate, it can give you I think it's called heart palpitations, where your heart rate is kind of really fast and a little bit irregular, and you can kind of feel it, and it can increase your anxiety, absolutely, because it feels like it's boosting it, which it kind of is. It's boosting the physical effects of it, at least as far as I can tell. So yeah, I think that would be like, I think since most ADHD medications are stimulants, very powerful ones actually. That's probably like kind of one of the risks. So you got to kind of weigh it. You know, do I, you know, if I have some increased anxiety, how is my ADHD medication going to affect that? And now maybe there's a stimulant that doesn't affect it so much. I think probably like the most common one. Which one am I on? It's Adderall. I think I'm on Adderall. I think I have the generic. It's something extra. I don't fucking know. Anyways, it's basically meth. It's an amphetamine. It's not meth. But but mine is actually, I can definitely feel its effects, but this particular one I've had is fairly gentle in terms of my anxiety. The ones I've had before, which is Dexedrine was one of them. Dexedrine, when I was a kid, didn't seem to do anything. I don't think they had me on the proper dosage. And it's what made me go off of ADHD medication, because I was like, I'm not going to take a medication if it's not doing anything for me. So I don't think they had me on a good enough dosage, because they never asked me how I felt or if I was doing better, which they did with this particular medication, because anybody who's going through ADHD medication, I think the way they do it is great. They go, we're going to start you off at 20 milligrams, in my case. We're going to start you off at 20, and then every month, we'll have a little talk, and we'll be like, okay, how are you feeling? How are you able to do things? And then if you feel like, it's not really helping, then they'll take you up to 30, then the 40. Then most people will end up usually 50 to 60, or 40 to 60, depending on who you are. For me, I'm at 60. I'm basically at the higher end of that, but fuck. It's like a new person comes out. It's like a different person exists in my brain that is focused. And even though my ADHD is still there, you're still affected by it. It's way less pronounced. And I'm able to actually get things done. And it's nice. I'm actually able to function properly and be on time for things and all sorts of stuff. Yeah, this is my fourth or fifth different ADHD med, but so far I've had 0 negative side effects, but I've also had 0 positive side effects. it just comes down to dosage. Like, you'll know eventually it will work. Like at a certain point, you will literally feel like, because I think with ADHD, for me, everything does feel super fast when I'm not on my meds. Everything feels like it's going super fast and I'm super slow. And I feel like I get frustrated because I feel like I'm wasting time and not like making decisions like I should, which is classic ADHD. And when I have the medication, everything comes down to my level. Like it comes down to how your brain processes things, and it comes down to what they call executive function. ADHD is basically a malfunction of your executive functions in your brain. Executive functions being decision making, prioritization of things, the ability to keep time, the ability to utilize your time efficiently, and the ability to understand time in terms of what, you know, like what can you do within a certain time period, and then go off to do your thing, you know, go off to do whatever other thing maybe you have scheduled, which is why people who have ADHD have a hard time being to work on time a lot and stuff like that. And a lot of people will berate you for it. It's like, oh, well, what, you don't have a watch? It's like, go fuck yourself. It has nothing to do with a watch. It has nothing to do with alarms. Those things don't work for people who have ADHD. And it may sound dumb. It has nothing to do with wanting to be somewhere or not wanting to be somewhere or being lazy. It has nothing to do. It's just basically our executive functions in our brain are a little fucked up and they need a little help. And that's what the medication does. Is it brings everything in focus, because it has a lot to do, I think, with the lack of certain chemicals in your brain, or how they affect our brains, essentially. I have to get a medication management psychiatrist, I think. Usually, yeah. It has to be... Well, okay, actually, no, my doctor, like, prescribed it for me. I had gone through the process of getting... I did have to initially see a psychiatrist, because I had to get diagnosed, right? So I got diagnosed. They know. It's not... People think it's ambiguous. It's like, no, we know now. There's tests for it where it's like, yeah, you have ADHD. It's not a question anymore, where it's like, yeah, you could have it, or maybe it's something else. No, they know now. Essentially, I mean, it's probably not 100% certainty, but like they can certainly point out. Like for me, they knew 3 minutes into the test. It might not even been that long. It's a 30-minute test. They knew 3 minutes into the test, and then they just spent the next 30 minutes, you know, confirming it essentially. And I was going through this test. It's a weird test where basically you need to either click on it. You see something and you click on something, or you hear something and you click on something. There's like two phases to the test, and how you react to that, your response time, and things like that determines whether you have ADHD. And like I said, they knew within the first 3 minutes that I had ADHD. I thought I was doing everything. I thought it was perfect through the entire test. I'm like, oh, there's no way. This is so easy. This is so fucking easy. They're gonna be like, you know, Tailani, you don't have ADHD. You did it perfectly. And I went into the thing, and the doctor came in. He's like, yeah, you got ADHD. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, well, you know, and he shows me like these data points and stuff, and I don't really 100% understand it. But basically what I was doing is, he's like, there'll be a period of time where you will do perfectly and you will do fine. And this is like classic with ADHD. You will start, and then you will start losing focus. And he's like, we could tell you start losing focus because you start making mistakes. Not just mistakes, but you make mistakes in a specific way. So, for example, my mind would wander, and I would be in my own head thinking about things, occupying my brain with something, and I would lose focus on something. And then, so instead of clicking the triangle when I see the triangle, I'm actually supposed to be clicking on the triangle when I hear a noise. That's the instruction. But I got it jumbled up because my brain is only half paying attention. Now, that's only one aspect of it. It tests like a whole bunch of different things. But yeah, it's like, yeah, it's very clear because you will focus for a certain period of time. You will lose your focus. You will make a mistake and realize you make a mistake. And then you will go back to focusing for a few seconds. It's a cycle. So he did that, and then I got diagnosed with it, and then he sent me to a psychiatrist that's dedicated to basically doling out the meds. And the psychiatrist wanted to kind of handle my depression first, and I'm like, okay. So I got some depression medication, which sucked and was awful. And I'm like, and then I never went back to him because I didn't think it was. I don't know why. But then a couple of years later, I was talking to my doctor. I'm like, yeah, I've been formally diagnosed with ADHD. It's in my file. And she's like, well, what kind of medication are you on for it? I'm like, I'm not. She's like, why? And I'm just like, because he wanted to handle my depression first and, you know, give me depression medication first. She's like, okay. Because she talked to me a lot about how things will feed on each other. So my anxiety, my depression, and my ADHD all feed off of each other, right? I will get depressed because I can't focus. My depression makes me anxious, and my anxiety exacerbates my ADHD. So she's like, instead of focusing on the depression, let's do the ADHD medication. And I got the ADHD medication, and it did relieve a lot of things, especially when I got up to the dosage where I started noticing. So I don't know. It's not. It doesn't solve all your problems. You still have ADHD, of course. Especially, oh my God, you get to the end of the day. So the end of the 12 hours for, in my case, 12 to 14 hours is when the medication wears off, and you could tell. You'll be playing a game with me, and I can't think of a damn thing. I'm sitting there doing my thing. I'll get quiet. People will ask me a question, and then someone else will ask me a question at the same time, and my brain explodes. My head just goes, done. I'm done. It's fucking crazy. It's relatable. Yeah, I mean, I think it's like, you can tell, like, when someone like me is describing ADHD or other people are describing ADHD, and it's funny, like, most people will just nail it on the head. It's be like, yeah, I know exactly where you're coming from. And then some people, I would never say they're like faking it or something like that. I'm sure some people do, of course. I would never say some people are faking it, but like, it's like, I don't know about that one. I don't know. You're not really describing it how it's usually described. Like, my doctor, before I went in for like the big computer test to determine whether I had ADHD, the doctor had an interview with me for like an hour and a half. And so after I'd done my test and they determined I had ADHD, he's like, yeah, he sat down with me. He's like, he goes through all the questions he asked me in that initial interview. And he's like, we were looking through all of this plus your test. This is classic ADHD, the way you answered the questions, and because I gave him like the most detailed shit I could think of. I went into so much detail because he's like, a lot of people will be like, this happens to me, or like, I do this, or this happens, or this happens, and this happens. And then those are signs of ADHD too. But people who have experienced ADHD for quite a long time, they tend to follow certain patterns in how they talk about it. They tend to say a lot of the same things because the experience is so much the same. So, like, obviously, I think that's probably what makes it, like, super relatable for some people, is like, oh my God, Tailani is just literally me right now. Because it's the same experience. And, I don't know. It'd have been cool to find out when I was a kid, if I had been on a proper dosage, how different my life would have been. Because I hated school. I had every opportunity and reason to succeed, and I didn't. And I spent a lot of time blaming that on my ADHD. And I think a lot of it was my ADHD. there's a period of time where I was like, nah, maybe I was just a stupid upstart kid. But and that's certainly true. But if I often thought, like, if I'd actually been properly medicated with ADHD medication, I might have done way better. Because when I left the high school and went to an alternative school, I graduated within 3 months. Like, I basically just did everything. I did the tests. I went through the books. Like, they do some, like, pre-tests to see kind of where you need some education in before you do the actual test, right? So I basically blew through these courses within 3 months and did the tests and was done. That was without ADHD medication. I was just so fucking motivated to be done with schooling and actually say, hey, you know, it's not because I'm stupid. And it's not. Like, I was so fucking proud of myself. I'm like, I knew it. I knew I'm not a dumbass. I knew I'm not a dumbass. I'm like, I knew that if I could just sit down and I didn't have a bunch of fucking idiots, you know, picking on me and shit like that. I didn't have, like, these fucking teachers on my ass all the time giving me homework when I don't want it. I would just fucking get out of here. I could just do my stupid tests and be gone, be done with it. Right? I had my writing test where where you write creatively. The practice test for it, I got a question because they ask you a question and you write an essay on that. That's the test. The writing test, I did that, and it was the practice one. The second one didn't go so well because it wasn't a topic. It was a really kind of actually specific topic that I wasn't familiar with, so I didn't know what to write about. And I didn't know how to fix that. I still passed it easily, but like the subject matter brought it down. However, the first one was like, you know, if you could do something, or like if you could do a thing, like if you could teach something, if you could teach a class or something like that, what would you do? I'm like, oh, I go to my local library. I would teach older people how to safely use things like Facebook, how to safely use the internet and not fall prey to or fall victim to scams, because older people, unfortunately, it has nothing to do with intelligence. It's just they have troubles spotting scams on the internet. It's just it's a thing. They're often preyed upon, and it sucks. But like I would teach older people how to use newer technology, especially things like social media and stuff like that, so they could be. And it was such a good essay that the instructor for the alternative school was like, hey, I really like this essay. Can I use this as an example to other students for writing their essays for this test? I'm like, I was fucking honored. I'm like, yeah, I didn't know I had written it so well. And she was just very, very impressed. It's stuff like that. It's like, I could have been amazing. I could have blown through high school like no problem. Just annihilated high school. I would have just destroyed it. The coursework, not the school. And probably going on to college and done something really amazing. But no, I'm me. I'm me. I'm me. Oh, well, I only got on my ADHD medication recently. It's crazy. I am, even without the medication, I am really super hyper focused on stuff, which is another symptom of ADHD. But I am hyper focused on things that when I want to get it done. So, you know, it's like. Anyways, I need to end the stream because I'm gonna go get my dang haircut and hopefully get some of this crap out of my face. And you guys have a good day. I will be streaming tomorrow. Assuming everything goes well per usual. If we got some deliveries for the new deck. We might finish off the swing set. We'll see what happens. But it'll probably be tomorrow night anyways, because I might do some singing or just a silly little stream or something like that. But yeah, I'll be around tomorrow. Probably Twitch. As far as Twitch goes, we may be switching to YouTube full time. I'm not sure yet. Twitch did something really stupid, and I'm sick and tired of Twitch's doing something stupid stuff. So I might switch to YouTube full time for you guys. So a lot of you guys be really excited. It kind of sucks because like no matter who you are, I love you as my audience and stuff like that. And I really don't like the idea of abandoning people who are, you know, basically only use Twitch. But at the same time, I don't like Twitch as a company. I don't really like YouTube as a company either, but I really don't like Twitch as a company. They just consistently do shit to just fuck everybody over. So does YouTube. I don't know. It's weird. But yes, if you guys haven't seen my Discord yet or haven't joined it, my link is in my YouTube bio or my YouTube description or whatever for my profile. You can find the Discord link in there or the code for it. It'll get you on our Discord. We can play games and hang out. I hang out in VC quite a bit and do things in there. So if you want to come hang out with me, that's where you can find me. That's also where you can find out like the latest information about what's going on for me, about streams and things like that. And yeah, but otherwise, I will probably be on Twitch tomorrow night. I will be most likely singing or something like that. And then Sunday I'll be streaming as well. So I'll see you guys all later. I hope you had a really good time. I had a blast. I had a lot of fun. And have a good Femboy Friday. Have a good Pride Month if you're celebrating Pride Month. Be safe, of course. And have a nice day. Bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye. Blam.
Staring at those legs, getting tranced by those guy highs, being hypnotized, throwing brawl by this boy eyes. Oh my, it's the king of the icky. Fangirls worldwide saying my voice is sexy. I don't care what you